In the vast expanse of human experience, we often find ourselves wrestling with forces beyond our control. Life, with all its unpredictability, hurls us into chaos, compelling us to grasp for control where none exists. But what if, instead of grasping, we embrace the uncertainty? What if, instead of forcing our will upon the world, we chose to master our own minds? This is the essence of Stoicism, a philosophy born in the crucible of adversity, tempered by the fires of hardship, and sustained by the resilience of the human spirit. We are all travelers on the road of life, and as we journey, we encounter trials and tribulations that test our resolve. Yet, the Stoics teach us that the path to true peace lies not in changing the world around us, but in changing our perception of it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, writes Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who ruled Rome with wisdom and temperance. In this exploration, we delve into 10 Stoic lessons that illuminate the way forward, guiding us toward a life of serenity, self-control, and inner fortitude. These lessons are not mere abstract concepts, but are rooted in the lived experiences of those who have walked this path before us. They are the bedrock upon which we build a life free from the turmoil of destructive emotions and the futility of forcing our will upon the world. Lesson 1. Embrace the impermanence of all things. The first lesson in our Stoic journey is the acceptance of impermanence. Everything in life is transient: our possessions, our relationships, even our very existence. To cling to the ephemeral is to invite suffering, for the nature of life is change. No man steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man, said Heraclitus, a pre-Socratic philosopher whose ideas deeply influenced Stoicism. The Stoics remind us that by embracing impermanence, we liberate ourselves from the fear of loss. We learn to appreciate the present moment, not as something to be held on to, but as something to be experienced fully. In doing so, we find peace, for we no longer seek to force permanence upon that which is inherently fleeting. Lesson 2. Focus on what you can control. Central to Stoic thought is the dichotomy of control, a simple yet profound understanding that some things are within our power, while others are not. Epictetus, a former slave turned Stoic philosopher, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This insight is a cornerstone of Stoicism, urging us to direct our energy toward that which we can influence, our thoughts, our actions, and our attitudes, while accepting the rest with equanimity. When we focus on what we can control, we cease to be slaves to external circumstances. We no longer waste our time and energy trying to bend the world to our will, but instead, we cultivate the inner strength to navigate whatever comes our way. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, the ability to remain steadfast in the face of life's inevitable challenges. Lesson 3. Practice detachment. Detachment is not indifference. It is the practice of maintaining a healthy distance from the things that tempt us to lose our inner balance. The Stoics teach that we should neither crave pleasure nor fear pain, but rather, we should approach both with a sense of calm detachment. Seneca, the Roman statesman and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "He who is brave is free." By this, he meant that true freedom comes not from external circumstances, but from mastering our desires and emotions. To practice detachment is to recognize that our worth is not tied to external things, wealth, status, or the opinions of others. Instead, we find our value within, in the strength of our character and the clarity of our purpose. In this way, we are not swayed by the highs and lows of fortune, but remain steady, like a ship anchored in a storm. Lesson 4. Cultivate inner fortitude. Life will test us, and in those moments, it is our inner fortitude that will carry us through. The Stoics were no strangers to hardship. Whether it was Marcus Aurelius facing the pressures of ruling an empire, or Epictetus enduring the brutalities of slavery. Yet they taught that adversity is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced, for it is through struggle that we grow stronger. Difficulty shows what men are, wrote Epictetus. Therefore, when a difficulty falls upon you, remember that God, like a trainer of wrestlers, has matched you with a rough young man. The Stoics saw challenges as opportunities for growth, as a means to cultivate courage, perseverance, and wisdom. By embracing hardship, rather than resisting it, we transform ourselves, becoming more resilient and more capable of navigating the complexities of life. Lesson 5. Live in harmony with nature. To live in harmony with nature is to align ourselves with the natural order of the universe. The Stoics believe that the cosmos is governed by reason, and that we as rational beings are a part of this greater whole. Follow nature, said Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism. This meant living according to our nature as rational beings, making choices that are in accordance with virtue and reason. When we force our will upon the world, we act in opposition to nature, creating discord within ourselves and with the world around us. But when we live in harmony with nature, we find peace, for we are no longer struggling against the current, but flowing with it. This does not mean passive acceptance, but rather an active participation in the natural order, making choices that reflect our highest values and ideals. Lesson 6. Practice mindful reflection. Reflection is a key practice in Stoicism, allowing us to learn from our experiences and cultivate self-awareness. Each day, we are faced with choices, and it is through reflection that we gain clarity on our actions and their consequences. The unexamined life is not worth living, said Socrates, a sentiment that resonated deeply with the Stoics. By taking time to reflect, we can identify where we may be forcing our will upon life and where we need to let go. This practice of mindful reflection helps us to stay aligned with our values, to correct our course when we stray, and to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Lesson 7. Embrace the present moment. The present moment is all we truly have. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, and yet we often find ourselves lost in regret or anxiety. The Stoics teach us to return our focus to the present, to live fully in the here and now. Confine yourself to the present, advised Marcus Aurelius, reminding us that peace is found not in dwelling on what was or what might be, but in fully embracing what is. By embracing the present moment, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. We stop forcing life to conform to our expectations, and instead, we learn to flow with it, finding beauty and meaning in each moment as it unfolds. Lesson 8. Accept the inevitable. There are certain realities in life that we cannot change: death, loss, and the passage of time. The Stoics teach us to accept these inevitabilities with grace and dignity, rather than resisting them. Memento mori, or remember you must die, was a common Stoic meditation, not to inspire fear, but to remind us of the brevity of life and the importance of living fully. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means acknowledging reality as it is and finding peace within it. When we accept the inevitable, we no longer waste energy fighting against what cannot be changed. Instead, we focus on what we can control, how we live, how we love, and how we respond to the challenges of life. Lesson 9. Seek wisdom, not perfection. Perfection is an illusion, a false ideal that can lead us to force ourselves into unnatural contortions in pursuit of an unattainable goal. The Stoics teach that wisdom, not perfection, is the highest aim of life. To make no mistakes is not in the power of man, but from their errors and mistakes, the wise and good learn wisdom for the future, said Plutarch, a Stoic philosopher and historian. Wisdom comes from experience, from the willingness to learn and grow. It is not about being flawless, but about being honest with ourselves, learning from our failures, and continually striving to improve. By seeking wisdom rather than perfection, we free ourselves from the tyranny of unrealistic expectations and find contentment in the journey of life. Lesson 10. Lead by example. Finally, the Stoics teach that the most powerful way to influence the world is by leading through example. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, wrote Marcus Aurelius. Our actions speak louder than our words, and it is through living in accordance with Stoic principles that we inspire others to do the same. When we embody the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, we become a beacon of light in a world often clouded by confusion and fear. We show through our actions that it is possible to live a life of meaning and purpose, even in the face of adversity. And in doing so, we fulfill our highest potential, not by forcing our will upon the world, but by becoming the best version of ourselves. As we conclude this journey through the 10 lessons of Stoicism, we are reminded that the path to true peace and fulfillment lies not in controlling the world around us, but in mastering ourselves. By embracing impermanence, focusing on what we can control, practicing detachment, and cultivating inner fortitude, we find the strength to navigate the challenges of life with grace and resilience. Stoicism is not a philosophy of resignation, but of empowerment. It teaches us that we are not at the mercy of external circumstances, but but that we have the power to shape our own destiny through the choices we make and the attitudes we cultivate. In a world filled with uncertainty and turmoil, the Stoic way offers a path to inner peace, guiding us to live with wisdom, courage, and purpose. Let us therefore take these lessons to heart, not merely as abstract ideas, but as guiding principles for our daily lives. Let us strive to be the best versions of ourselves, not by forcing our will upon the world, but by mastering our own minds and embracing the natural order of the universe. In doing so, we will find a peace that is unshakable, a strength that is enduring, and a life that is truly worth living.